story of a 4-week-old kitten named Wally. All he wanted was a second chance. Wally was thrown out of a car and onto the side of the road as a tiny baby. He desperately needed someone to take him in. The frightened feline wanted and needed a companion by his side. He dreamed of having someone to love him, take care of him, and to keep him safe. No one wanted him except one little girl. That's where I come in. When I first adopted Wally, I didn't know what I was in for. I did not realize how unique and unusual Wally really was. About 4 years ago, this frisky feline had his first Christmas at home. He got just a little too attached to the Christmas tree. When I came home from school about a week before Christmas, my mom was in a panic. She sadly told me Wally had run away. 10 minutes later, we found him hanging out in the middle of the Christmas tree. Literally, he looked like a furry ornament. After that, the strange stunts kept on coming. One evening, after a hard day consisting of playing video games and eating a half a dozen homemade chocolate chip cookies, I decided to relax. I turned on the tub, poured in the bubble bath, and the next thing I know, Wally was swimming around in my perfect oasis like a SeaWorld dolphin. Oh, did I tell you about the time when my little buddy went toilet snorkeling and how the toilet may or may not have been flushed? It was a lot of cleaning and a really messy situation. Another thing, Wally isn't exactly a fitness cat, if you know what I mean. He's fat, happy, and pushing 25 pounds. Life is good. Wally was also introduced to the other pets in our house, which happened to be 2 giant heavyweight dogs and 1 tiny furball. He thought it would be a great idea to make friends. Let's just say if it wasn't for his good instinct of running away, Wally wouldn't be here today. One last thing. One afternoon, I was really tired, so I went to go take a nap. Soon after I had fallen asleep, I was woken up by a loss of breath. Wally was sound asleep on my head. Even though my cat Wally has and will continue to partake in these hilarious antics, my family and I will always cherish his company. Over the years, Wally has become so much more than just a pet. He has become a valued member of our family and a BFF, best feline friend. No matter how crazy Wally is, I will always love him. Wally Dom has changed my life forever in a perfect way.
Thank you, Lily. Our next contestant is Amy Schlosser from Avon Park Middle School. The title of Amy's speech is, "What Did You Say?"
The English language has changed so much over the past 500 years with texting, slang, and new words. Let's take a moment to look back at some once modern phrases which are now interesting and sometimes quite confusing. For instance, the phrase, "bite the bullet." Wait, is that safe? What if you saw some gunpowder or something? That would not be good. The phrase began to be used in the 1800s. During surgery, if the patient was in pain, they would bite down on a metal bullet to keep them from screaming. "I'll take anesthesia, please." The actual meaning of this phrase is just to get something done, even if it is difficult or unpleasant. How about the rule of thumb? We understand it to mean the common or usual way to do something. In 17th century England, It referred to the legal right of a husband to beat his wife with a stick as long as the stick was no wider than his thumb. Kind of makes you want to marry a small guy. Have you ever been told that you're a basket case? We traditionally think of someone who is stressed and in an agitated state. The actual use of this phrase started during World War II when unfortunate soldiers lost their arms and legs and had to be carried around in a basket by their friends. I never want to be a basket case. I'm sure you've heard this one. It's raining cats and dogs. Seriously, fluffy felines and prancing puppies are falling from the sky. Not. This phrase started in England sometime around the 1600s. People lived in thatched roof houses and their pets sought shelter in the protective layers of straw. When the rains came down, the pets either fell off or jumped off the roof. People inside looked out to see these crazy critters moving towards the ground. And so to this day, when it is raining really hard, it is raining cats and dogs. One phrase often heard in schools is saved by the bell. We usually take that to mean the bell that rings and saves us from something unpleasant. What it really refers to is a practice common hundreds of years ago when people were accidentally buried alive on a fairly regular basis. People who were afraid of this happening were buried in special coffins which had a rope attached to a bell above ground. Guards listened at night for bells which alerted them where to dig someone up. In my research for this speech, I found hundreds of common phrases with some very interesting origins. And just for the record, I want you to know that I will be as happy as a clam if I can cut the mustard with this speech and leave you laughing your head off.
Thank you, Amy. Our next speaker is Carson Angel from Hillgustat Middle School. The title of Carson's speech is The Crying Game.
Are you crying? Are you crying? There's no crying in baseball. This saying, along with many others, is what makes up the unwritten rules of baseball. There are many strange rules that stand out to me. Rules that make you think, what just happened? Like who came up with the idea that says that a pitcher is allowed to hit a batter on purpose? Imagine this. You're in the batter's box, glaring at the pitcher, waiting for that perfect pitch when, wham! He throws a 100-mile-an-hour fastball that slams the side of your head like a missile. After a pitch like that, one might want to rethink that no crime rule we talked about earlier. One of the most annoying, unwritten rules of baseball is the drop third strike rule. What's the drop third strike rule, you may be asking yourself? Picture this. You're at the baseball game, nervously biting your nails, because your son or daughter has 2 strikes against them, and you know they can't even hit a ball out of their field. All of a sudden, they watch strike 3 go right down the middle. Oh, come on, kid. But to your surprise, he sprints down the line, and they're called safe at first base. The catcher has dropped the ball. When this happens, the drop third strike rule enables the runner to attempt to take first base. This is by far the most absurd rule ever. Why did they allow the guy to get on base, even though he didn't earn it? It baffles many players and fans because nothing should come easy in baseball, and it just doesn't make plain sense. Another rule that really jiggles my jello is the intentional walk rule. This occurs when the catcher walks to the side of the batter cover and then has the pitcher throw the ball to him 4 times, outside of the batter's box. Boring. Sadly, this usually happens when great hitters come up to bat. Everyone knows Alex Rodriguez with the New York Yankees, right? Well, he is probably one of the better hitters of our time, and the perfect example of someone who you don't want to see get intentionally walked. Do I want to pay over $80 to see A-Rod get intentionally walked up close and personal? No way. So remember, the next time you're on a baseball field and you feel the tears welling up, you better run. Because no matter how silly the rule may seem, there's no crying in baseball.
Thank you, Carson. Okay, up next we have Mia Davis from Lake Placid Middle School, and the title of Mia's speech is My Bucket List.
I often hear people say, time flies while you're having fun. Or people say to me, next thing you know, you'll be graduating high school. So before I celebrate going over the hill, I decided to create a bucket list. Is it a little too early for a bucket list, you might ask? Well, maybe so. But I decided to create a bucket list of things I would like to do before I go to high school. Number 1, world domination. Or maybe the school. Just kidding, folks. Let's get down and dirty with some serious business. Number 2, win first place in the Tropicana speech. I would like to win first place to show all the judges, Mr. Tuning, and my fellow classmates that you can do anything you want to do if you set your mind to it. By applying dedication, hard work, and many countless rough drafts, I hope to accomplish this goal. Number 3, I would like to join the National Junior Honor Society to help the world be a better place as a scholar. By establishing myself as a member, I will be on the right path to get into a college of my choice, enabling me to make a difference in this world. Other items on my bucket list would be to star in a Broadway show, solve world hunger, lead a peace march, and maybe a conga line. So, what number are we on? 7? 8? Well, let's just move on to 8. Number 8 would have to be making awesome memories with my friends. Like, go to the beach, watching scary movies until we're scared white as ghosts, endless hours of tubing, create funny videos online that becomes viral in seconds, and maybe a few prank calls here and there. Number 9, go to Paris and meet some cute guys, ooh la la. Just kidding, though I would like to travel some more, as I have been to North Carolina, New York, multiple times, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Philadelphia, and the Bahamas. I like traveling because I can learn more and see famous sculptures, paintings, or architecture, like the Mona Lisa in the Leaning Tower of Pisa. So, is it a little too young for a bucket list? Well, maybe. But I like to think of it as a way to achieve my goals before I'm an old lady in high school. Will I accomplish everything on my bucket list? Well, who knows? But I sure do look forward to Paris, Broadway's, memories, and winning the Tropicana speech.
Thank you, Mia. Up next, we have Katie Kent from Highlands University Preparatory School. And the title of Katie's speech is Bullying.
Hey you there, stop bullying. It's not cool. I've been bullied before and I know it hurts. Let me tell you a story about a girl named Rachel, a ninth grader who was bullied every day, and she soon had enough of it. One day she came home and her dad said, "Hey honey, tonight is game night and we're going to play as a family." "No thanks," she said, "I have too much homework." She went to her room and wrote in her journal, "I'm okay, I guess, but I wish I could tell you how I really feel." She wrote more in her journal, and then she hurt herself. So please, I ask you, don't bully anyone, because you could be bullied next. Also, I suggest you think before you speak. By what you say, there are some times when you may say something to another person. You may think you're being funny, not knowing what's going on in their life. And what you say may be hurtful to that person. If you see someone getting bullied, stand up for them. They wouldn't want you to bully them, and I know you sure wouldn't want anybody to bully you. It hurts a lot. That if you tell a person or adult, when you see someone getting bullied, stand up for them. Tell an adult, "This is what I and other people who have been bullied would want you to do for them." So please, I ask you, don't bully. It's not cool, and it can hurt other people. Not just you, but other people. It can leave you with a bad reputation. A reputation is when you do something, either good or bad. You can do a good reputation and be known for something good. Or you can do a bad reputation and do something bad, and you always stick with that for the rest of your life. So please, I ask you, once again, think before you speak. Please do not bully anyone.
Thank you, Katie. Okay, our final contestant from the middle school division today is Harrison House from Lake Placid Christian School. The title of Harrison's speech is The M&M Jar.
M&Ms, the stomach-satisfying chocoballs that have been around for what seems like forever. These crunchy treats have even become a helper to teachers and kids in the classroom. Now let me tell you about my experience with these educational treats. It was at my babysitter's house where it all started. A couple of kids and I were playing when Bonnie called us. We walked, well, some called it to the dining room. On the table was a large jar of M&Ms. Everybody got excited. We sat down and she handed us about 10 M&Ms. She told us not to eat them. This really discouraged us. Next, she said if we could name the colors of the M&Ms, we could eat them. I learned all my colors by the end of the day. K4. I was fighting an unwinnable fight against my mom to the classroom door. I just wasn't prepared for my new teacher and school year. When I finally dragged myself inside, I saw that glorious treat that I enjoyed so much. As the teacher settled the class, I sat in my chair like a good little boy and she passed out the M&Ms. She instructed us not to eat them until I tell you. My heart stopped. I'll just say that the word "until" lasted forever. She made us count and practice our colors. As I entered K5, I didn't see that heavenly job goodness out in the open like last year. That made me very sad. Later in the day, the teachers told us to put everything away. She pulled out from under her desk the Happy Jar of Goodness full of red, yellow, green, and blue M&Ms. I could almost taste the sweet chocolate. She handed them out and made us assort them. An assort is no word any 5-year-old has ever heard of. She explained what assorting was, and we learned very quickly. During my elementary years, M&Ms were used for behavior, math, and fun activities. After my elementary years, my grades started to decline. I had no motivation in math and other subjects of that sort. I couldn't figure out why that was happening. I then realized that after 5th grade, it was that little treat called M&Ms that was missing from my life. That is why I am here today to ask for your vote to bring these treats back into every classroom and to help those of us end up with a little sweet motivation.
Thank you, Harrison. Okay, well, we're going to take about a 10-15 minute break so we can tabulate scores, and then at about, I'd say 11:40, we will begin with our awards presentation. So please feel free to help yourself with the remaining refreshments in the back of the auditorium.
Sure.